The trim function here in GarageBand can be very handy when you're working with loops, but what is it and how do we use it? Well, in this GarageBand Quick Jam, I'm going to show you. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete, and this is Studio Live Today, where I help you create, record, and release your best music. Now, if you're using loops here in GarageBand on your iPhone or your iPad, you might have noticed that when you tap on your item here, you've got this trim option, an additional option. If you go to a normal waveform, you don't have trim. So what is trim and how do we use it? Well, let's dive in and take a loop now. Let's start with the Apple loop because this is the easier one to understand. So here is an Apple loop where we've got a 4-bar loop that we've simply looped to make it 8 bars. Now, if we tap on this one and we tap trim, what we can actually do is instead of using those whole 4 bars, we can determine which part of this we actually want to loop. So if we only want to loop the first bar, we can drag that handle back. And now, instead of repeating those 4 bars, it's just a single bar. So let's take a listen to this. So it's just going to repeat that. If we hit undo and we go back to the 4 bars, let's take a listen. You can hear that it's using that 4-bar repeating pattern. Now, if we tap here and we go trim again, we can also trim the front handle. So if we just wanted to say these last 2 bars, look what's happened now. It's actually trimmed it out, so it's just playing those last 2 bars over and over again. And then, if we drag this back to the start here, we can then actually extend this out by tapping loop again and looping it all the way through to the end here. So you can select any portion. The trim function allows you to select any portion of a loop and loop that portion instead of the whole loop. So if you grab a loop here from your Apple loops and you don't like the entire loop, you can pull out just a piece and loop it. So let's show you an example of how we do that now. So let's just say that we wanted to bring in this around midnight hi-hat. So we'll tap and we'll drag this in to a new track like that. Now you can see here it's a 4-bar loop. We'll just solo it out here. It's a 4-bar loop that's repeated twice because we've got an 8-bar section here. So let's hit play on this one. But what if we only want a very small portion of this? Well, let's tap on this and let's go to our trim function and let's trim this back. But let's actually go, we're going to zoom in a little bit here and we're just going to trim this back. We only want this first half of a bar. Now if we play this back, so if that was the desired effect we wanted, it's not, but if it was, we could do that. If we want to change this again, we can grab this trim handle and put it back out to 1 bar. So now it would sound like this. And you can see there that you can trim it on either of these handles and you can make it whatever you want. And then that will be the portion of the track that will loop. So you can get some very unique and different effects by using the trim function to chop out just a portion of one of your loops. Now, what about where we've looped a virtual instrument performance like this one at the top here? Well, this is going to be a bit different. If we tap on this and we tap trim, and now we move this handle, you can see here that I've actually recorded a bit more than this originally. So this is something that I recorded in. I recorded 4 bars of this, and then I looped it, but it's got a little bit of my leftover there. So that's probably not the way I want to go, but let's just say I wanted just the first 2 bars of this. Well, then now I've only got the first 2 bars of this track, and if we play it, it's going to repeat that over and over again. And if I wanted this to just be the first bar, then we can play it again. So we can quickly adjust this to be either the full amount or any part of that again. And it works the exact same way here using a virtual loop as it did with our Apple loop down below. Now, a quick note here that if we've got a drummer loop, this won't actually be a function because as soon as you add a drummer loop, you need to go into your drummer settings at the top here and adjust it there. So there's no trim function for a drummer loop, but if you're using a MIDI loop or an audio loop like the Apple loops, it will be there. And if you want to learn more about using drummer, then I've got a video which will be linked up the top right now. And there you go, the trim function, probably not one you'll use every day, but a cool one to have in your toolkit. Now, I've got 2 more videos linked down below all about GarageBand and using loops to make cool sounds, so check those ones out. Subscribe to the channel by clicking or tapping on the icon in the top right corner, and I'll see you next time.